Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. What the heck do you get when you have the literal clown of North America? That's right, the best player in North America, Astrea, Max Angel, hailing from San Diego, up against one of the cheesiest Korean players in the world, SHIN, in the top left side of the map. Now, the reason why Astrea is called a clown is because he literally called himself that. A lot of players have made fun of the North American region, saying that they aren't good. Europeans are better. Koreans are even better. Or at least if you don't count, maybe Cyril and Clem right now, our last couple of world champions. But a lot of people have said basically the NA players just are no good at StarCraft. And a lot of players would have kicked back, said, hey, we've got, more talent than you guys know. We're really good. Astrea said, hey, yeah, we might be clowns, but we're powerful clowns. He's kind of embraced the fact that North American players play creative strategies. They play oddball styles. They don't just play psychotically aggressive like the Koreans, where they're just microing in your face nonstop. He also doesn't play like the Europeans, where they just often sit in that corner defending all game as much as possible and just trying to win in the late game. Obviously, those are both stereotypes, but they do, at least across the wide scale of players, kind of hold up. SHIN, on the other hand, is a player who is not quite as fast as the Darks of this world, the Rogues. He's a player who struggles sometimes to keep up with someone like Beyond when he's microing his heart out, or Maru when he's all over him. So SHIN likes to beat his opponents with clever build orders. And that's why this is such a fun matchup, because SHIN usually tries to all in sometime in the mid game against Protoss and catch them off with these big sneaky builds. And Astrea himself is just known for some of the most creative and wonderful play we've ever seen. We've seen him do 2 warp prisms with 4 disruptors, just dropping balls on queens and drone lines the entire game. Obviously, we've seen Astrea do double storm drops versus Zerg. He's a man who can play quite standard with just a few clever twists, or he can just go absolutely balls to the wall insane. And when you've got 2 players like this who are a bit off meta, I love to see what happens. SHIN is in the top left side, and he's gone for a 14 hatchery. So he took his hatchery really early to make sure Astrea couldn't block it, which is why Astrea just kind of harassed the minerals a little bit and went on back. Now, Astrea's going for a wall off like so. It's going to be a little exposed up here, but you can always build another gateway in front to reinforce the wall. And what's really good about this wall is if the opponent tries to run in from here and you've got an extra gateway there, it's 2 big, thick buildings blocking you. You can't really just bust through. So you need to come a little bit deeper into this area, which just means you're even closer to the third base, which is where the army is more often situated. So it's one of those things where actually setting up your wall off so it's not too exposed is a really good way to try and keep yourself a little bit safer. And it looks like so far, it is very straight up openings. Adepts into Oracles. Second Adept, I don't think is getting chrono boosted, so I'm not sure if he'll send that across the map or not. But the first Adept is here. Third hatchery's down for SHIN. Now, SHIN recently beat MaxPax in a weekly tournament. I think he may have done it with a drone all-in one game, right? He did a drone pull Zergling all-in one game. I mean, he's been throwing the kitchen sink at nerds for a while. His series against Stats, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, were so much fun when Stats came back from the military, where he would often just get way ahead, but Stats would just be the shield of ire and defend, and try to make that comeback from miles behind. Oracle's on the way. Astrea's going to go for this pylon here. What's cute about this positioning is if you do get flooded on this third, you could build batteries up here and actually heal units on the low ground. So it's one of the big advantages of taking this on the high ground right here with this pylon. Something I got to start doing, dude. I feel like these little adjustments don't seem like a lot, but when it's Protoss, you've got, what, 2 Adepts right now, 1 Oracle. And this is a moment where Link speed's finished. And if the Zerg was flooding Lings, you'd need every little piece of defense. First Oracle's coming in right now. Queen's going to intercept it. Oracle does get 1 drone. Can we get a second? Yeah, it takes a lot of damage, though. So kind of an expensive drive-by there for Astrea. Third hatchery's up the top now. Spore goes down in the main. So this was just 1 Spore into 4 Queens. Extra Spores on the way. Delaying droning the third is the safest thing to do. This is like a weird thing that I actually have an issue with this matchup when I play as a Zerg, right? Because I'm always like, hey, let's drone this up as quickly as possible to get ahead. And if the Protoss is not very good, you get away with it. And you get used to just playing Zerg versus Protoss from ahead. And then you play someone who's like a really top tier Protoss and they fly in and kill all those drones because you don't have a Spore Crawler or Queens there yet. And that's something that's... I have very good ZVP when I'm playing people quite a bit worse than me. And I have terrible ZVP when I'm playing people who are better than me. So... I gotta be a bit more conservative like these top pros are, where they're always keeping their eyes out. Now, SHIN actually loses track of this. That's right, guys. These guys both enjoy playing with the Diva voice back, for those who don't know. Ooh, Oracle does snipe a drone, and oh, he does kind of get the queens out of position. You got to be careful with those queens. This is like the thing the Protoss players have gotten so tricky with. Max is actually like the best at that, where he'll poke in and out and drive around, pull your queens out of position, and then an Oracle will just come in from the other side, kill 3 drones, and get out of there. So the kind of distracting your opponent and pulling them out of position has become so common recently. Phoenix tickling the Overlord, but Shin keeps it alive. Zergling poking around, does see an Adept in the wall. He also sees the Robo coming up behind that wall. Now we know, especially with these Zealots warping, and if Shin sees that, he'll know that it is going to be a charge rather than blink opening. He's not even trying to pretend to build Stalkers. Oracle's tagging the left side. Phoenix is pushing back the vision of Shin, but he shouldn't actually be able to kill anything, especially not with transfuses going down. So this, if you check out Shin's vision, right, like he's pushed into a corner, but he's not actually losing anything. All right, D.Va, shut up. Do I have to just stop going to Shin's camera to avoid hearing D.Va? Potentially. I know Astrea plays with her on a lot of the time as well, so it's, when these two are playing, it's like, I think sometimes Astrea plays with White Ra's voice back on. Essentially, you've got just weird sound effects coming through. And I always find it funny that these guys will be playing like $1 million tournaments and they'll have D.Va cracking jokes about the upgrades her dad likes to make and just weird references to ancient memes, and her kind of giggling. I was saying, you can't put that there. And you're like, oh. To be fair, I actually do kind of love the cringe personally, but I feel like when I'm screwing around, not if I'm playing a serious tournament. Ling's ready to deny the 4th base. That's a really good move. But here comes the Zealot Archon. Lings could try to run by, pull those Archons home, because right now there's only 7 roaches out. 7 more are on the way. I think Shin's really well prepared, guys. I think Shin is incredibly well prepared for this. He's going to keep you stuck on 3 base. Storm and +2 do start up. This is a 4-gate pressure with 4 more gateways about to finish. Zealot Archon up top. And it just feels like one of these things where Shin is so well prepared. Astrea didn't really put any special sauce on this build, right? He went to the full 3 bases of workers. This is a light pressure, but he needs to make sure he doesn't lose these units. Getting any fight on the Zerglings with Zealot Archon is great. Those Zerglings and those Zealots walk right past each other. There are 2 observers out behind us. The Immortal production has now started. And I do like that Astrea is kind of backing out of the scariest position. 5 Zerglings come in. Remember, they don't have a +1 melee upgrade, so 5 Zerglings, they're going to barely be getting even through the shield regen. That should be an easy save on that base. And do we see a Warp Prism on the other side of the map? Looks like something's up there. Oh, Warp Prism with 4 Zealots just snuck through this top base. But it's very damaged. Queens on the left, Spore on the bottom, Queens on the right. I do like that he's patrolling, though, so it does kind of automatically go in and out of vision. Oh, no, it's just out, actually. It's always nice to just barely go into your opponent's vision, just so they keep kind of getting red dots appearing on the minimap. So if you look at this from Shin's view, you keep seeing these red dots. You're kind of trained to notice that and get... Looks like we're going to the late game. Indeed, D.Va. We know. We're playing and watching the game. We don't need you to tell us. Oh, gosh, he's going Swarm Host. Swarm Host Nidus. Swarm Host Nidus saying... Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Swarm Host Nidus is going to be a problem. Warp Prism comes in. It's heavily damaged. The Zealots will take out the Queen and a few drones. 5-6 drones could be very nice. Unfortunately, though, he's not got his Oracles on the defense. He has no idea what's happening. Storm is ready. But that first Nidus Worm is about to come up on the right side. Roaches coming forward as well. 29 Roaches. There's only 2 Immortals on the map. Astrea is down 50 supply, which is fine if he can weather the first Locust wave without too much damage. But if those Locusts can take out a base, then he's going to be already on the back burner. Oh, no, 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 no. He's got to be careful, mate. Those Swarm Hosts coming in from the right side. The Oracles find it, but they don't find it early enough. That's going to be able to get on top of his Nexus. It'll be a hard effort to save that Nexus. He doesn't even try. Wise choice, wise choice. Just give it up. Let the Nexus and the Probe or 2 go down. Good catch there. Oh, looks like these Roaches all ate that massive Storm before. They tried to morph into Ravagers, but they did it too close. They had to cancel. Astrea may lose an Archon here. Oh, great Storm again. Beautiful Storms. Okay, Shin has got to be a little more careful. He's kind of throwing his Roach hit points away right now. Hive is on the way. Remember, the modern way of doing Roach Swarm Host, we used to do this as an all-in. Players these days actually transition to Lurkers behind it. Oh, he gets a High Templar! Astrea, no! Oh, he lost 2 High Templar. He does get 1 Storm out. He's got enough energy for 1 more Storm, but he doesn't land it in time. There we go. The High Templar coming from the back, and they do end up defending. But the Swarm Hosts are ready on the front for another wave. This is an averse army wave. Normally, you want to throw the Locust into the enemy base, and that's why you can see Shin second-guessing himself. He's like, oh, I don't really want to throw this against your army, because he knows the army can just walk away. Not to mention Storm and Archons can kill those Locusts very quickly. Zealots on the right side getting cleaned up. And, uh-oh. Here we go. He has to throw a Locust first army wave. Archons stay to fight it, but that means you're going to get 2 Archons, which is not a bad pickoff at all. Gets 1, and the second one as well. Meanwhile, Zealots are chasing those Roaches away. Remember, these Roaches have been taking a lot of damage, but the Hive is almost finished. This base is taking a massive amount of damage on the right side, army versus army, though. The Roaches have got to get out of here. SHIN, kind of crazy the way you can tell he's fighting for map control right now, guys. If you're wondering why is he out there fighting in these kind of sloppy fights, it's because if he can just maintain position, get another Locust wave up, he can keep sniping these Nexi. This 4th base is just back to mining. The natural is not mining right now for Astrea. Astrea's on 81 probes, which is kind of insane. He does have his army split up. Doesn't have any Storm on this right side, though. He's got, luckily, 4 Immortals there, though, and a shield battery, which is quite big. Oracles are tracking the army very well. Random High Templar does get caught in the open ground. Units lost tab is in favor of Astrea, and that's actually good for him. Because even though this felt like losing a Nexus was really bad, as long as he can max out now, without too much future damage, he'll be okay. But he's going to lose a Nexus and a bunch of probes. Again, 2 probes. That Nexus will definitely go down, guys. Good Storm on this left side. And the Zealot Immortal will push back these Roaches. You've got to be careful, though, about chasing too hard, because the Zealots will eat a lot of damage from Storm. That actually makes a pretty big difference. Astrea needs to rebuild this Nexus on this side. He's going to split his army right now. He's sending Zealots to the right to try and clear that Locust position. He knows that the Locust will be ready to throw in about 5-10 seconds, so he's got to get up here, clear out the Nidus Worm. But of course, SHIN just evacuates to the bottom left side of the map. So he's back at the Nidus. New one comes up down there. The Roach Ravager's job is to distract. Oh, don't lose the Oracle. Good dodge by Astrea. You know, a Zerg player, when they get the Protoss busy, is always going to take that Hail Mary shot. Prism coming back into the main base. Zealots on the right side as well. This is going to be a really big wave. Locusts are going to hit the 4th base while the Roach Ravager Zergling distracts. Beautiful move here by SHIN. The question is, can he defend that giant Zealot counterattack at the same time? These probes need to run. These probes need to run. Astrea does try to run them away, but he already loses 6-7 probes. Go down, and he'll lose some of those other buildings. Now, the Spine Crawlers and Queens are here, but the Zealots are getting on top, and they will be able to clear this out. Now, the rest of the army should get home. Only getting Spines and Queens. I think it was like 3 Queens, 2 Spines for about 10 Zealots. If you can get some drones with hold position, it would be nice, but he's not hold position microing because he's too busy trying to reset at home. Astrea is only now rebuilding his 4th and Natural Nexus. Swarmos ready to throw yet another wave on the front. There's Prism not able to do anything to distract. I mean, obviously, multitasking is strained right now. There's Hydras coming in. He just wants to keep up the aggression. No actual Lurker upgrades just yet. Next Locust wave is going to go in here. Oh, good Storms. Great Storms. And I don't think he can take out the Nexus this time. So he's just going to take out the Pylon and damage the Nexus, softening it up for a future blow as well. Throw up a Nidus Worm in location. There's no way that dies. No, you're kidding me. Okay, it barely survives. Barely. Prism comes back in. Few Zealots in the natural. Astrea does a very good job of distracting. Does get the Prism and the Phoenix out of there to survive. These Roaches have cornered themselves. It's getting a bit chaotic. Astrea, he's got to close the trap. He cannot let these Roaches out of here. 4th base dies. It does not get cancelled, but he does deny this one over there. He recalled his army. Why did he recall his army? He could have trapped these Roaches. Now these guys are caught out in the open. Astrea, oh no. Dude, there's just too much chaos, to be fair. I mean, I'm not saying what a dummy. How did he make that mistake? There's so much going on in this game. These sort of games where you're desperately trying to stop those Nidus Worms from being anywhere near your base are so stressful. And units lost tab 3,000 in his favor. I mean, Astrea's still doing fine, because remember, Swarm Hosts are meant to be efficient. It's SHIN's only on 68 workers. The Swarm Hosts are actually meant to make you more efficient than the Protoss, cost for cost trading. But because there's like 50 Roaches have died this game already, and oh my lord. Well, he gets 1 High Templar, but that's like 10 Roaches for 1 High Templar. 75 Roaches! And 3 Ravagers have died this game. That is immense. I mean, what have we lost? 3 Archons, 3 Immortals, 3 High Templar. It's you don't want to be losing any of those Immortal Archon High Templar, but yeah. Oh, Locust coming in. Oh, he's going to focus. Battery overcharge. It's healing. It is healing, guys. You can see the heal beam in the top right. Oh my gosh. But too many Locusts, even with 2 cannons trying to whittle them down. Locusts have 50 hit points. They take 3 cannon shots. So cannons actually don't kill them very fast. Locusts are surprisingly tanky, you know? A lot of people think they're like 20, 30 hit points like a Broodling. They are not. Locusts are tanky lads. This gateway is still depowered in the natural from that earlier pylon snipe. So it's actually only 7 gateways able to warp in right now for Astrea. He's got to be careful. He sees the Lurkers at this stage. And the Lurkers do have double upgrades. Plus 3 attackers on the way as well. Good Storms there. And gets himself a single Lurker. Does wound the army as well. Zealots on the right side. Going to do very well versus these unupgraded Zerglings, and without a second Evo chamber, it does make you a lot more all-in with the Lurker play because you don't have those Carapace or melee upgrades added in. Like, melee is so good for, of course, Zergling run-bys, and Carapace just allows your units to be a lot tankier, especially against Zealots. Doesn't change too much, like against an Immortal or an Archon. but it does help a lot against like Zerglings versus Zealots and that sort of stuff. Another Nexus snipe. Dude, oh, but wait. How many? Oh my god, he's losing a lot of Swarmers. So it looks like the Nidus Worm got sniped here. He took a bit too long to run away. Meanwhile, army on the front. Good storms, but there's more lurkers here. And I think Astrea has to back out. He can't force the issue. Gets himself another lurker with the High Templar. He will take out this top base. He does still have a Phoenix in the top left. Prism in the middle left side of the map there. But 15 probes just went down along with the Nexus. And there's still more Nidus Worms. Of course there is. SHIN being an absolute menace in this game. That Phoenix somehow barely gets out of there. Hydra does take it down. Oh, the Locust actually came out. Oh, this is a kind of crazy move. Popping out into the base. I guess maybe he's ready to throw the Swarmos away. I always feel like having a small squad of Swarmos is actually a good thing, especially now because he's gassed up. He can't afford to remax, so I think that's just a mistake. He's only got 3 Swarmos now. 3 Swarmos left. Man, my ability to speak is struggling right now because we're watching such a chaotic game. Nice Storms. He maybe could have moved into the natural. I would love to see him kill that Evo chain before Carapace comes in. But it is a little too late to stop +3 attack because that's already finished. Mama's here. Lurker's in the main base. Mama's going to need to use her cloaking field. And he needs some sort of detection. Oracle's going to come out, which can reveal. But I mean, Mothership doesn't do a lot of damage. Oh, he's going to recall on top. Oh, Time Warp. He does Time Warp, but only on top of one of the Lurkers. And oh, these High Templar thankfully not getting hit. The Lurkers were shooting in the wrong direction because the units in the middle were cloaked. Mothership does go down to the Hydras. Can you believe it? I guess the Storm must have done a fair bit of damage to her as well. But Hydra's popping out back at home. Units lost time, still 7,000 in favor of Astrea. But Astrea's income is a piece of wet spaghetti right now. It's not looking very structurally sound, you know? It's looking like it could fall apart at any time. Natural's never mining. Main's basically gone. Third is somewhat mining with 2 gases and a bit of minerals. A little bit of minerals there. I mean, he's basically just licking up the dregs off the floor at this stage. He is one of those animals in a drought-stricken zone that's found a muddy puddle and has gone, oh, score, muddy puddle water, my favorite. Yeah, SHIN, on the other hand, doesn't have any map control, and that's a problem for him. Because how do you get your Lurker army across the map? And how do you deal with a guy who has 8 storms there and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 storms on the left and 8 storms on the right? Astrea has so many storms. Now, if he missteps and walks into Lurkers, loses a bunch of High Templar, definitely he might lose some map control. But right now, as long as his army is split up in your face, it's going to be so hard to get across the map. That being said, SHIN's max. I mean, SHIN has so many units. He should just be shoving through the middle with like 1/4 of his army, maybe 1/3 of his army, and trying to defend with the rest. Because you can't really break these Lurker positions very well as Astrea. Oh, because Astrea's posturing so aggressively, it's kind of scaring SHIN. SHIN does get an Oracle kill, but loses a bunch of Hydra Ling. It's going to go for that Nidus on the other side. I mean, if you can just force a fight now, your max is SHIN, right? You've got 5 more Lurkers. It's going to be 22 Lurkers. I think this is his go time. Astrea just doesn't have the supply. He's got 9 Immortals and 13 High Templar. So definitely, if you're just trying to push through his army, Astrea can hold ground. But the moment you bypass him and get to the other side of the map, he's kind of screwed. And that is why he instantly recalls. Because he doesn't know where this Nidus is. And he knows if 15 Lurkers arrive at his base, he's kind of just dead. He can't break an entrenched Lurker position. What he can do is he can slow down the Lurker advance. And he will be able to get a nice fight there. 2 Lurkers do get sniped down. Dude, okay, more Hydras are on the way. SHIN needs to get a move on right now. He needs to get going. He's got the advantage, but because his map control's been taken away, there's these zealots everywhere, that prism's still in the top, he's struggling to finish Astrea off. The clown is just surviving right now. He's walking around bleeding, leaving a trail of clown blood. I don't know what color clown blood is. He is Protoss. Protoss, I think, have blue blood. But, ooh, those Lurker shots do tickle off the barriers off these Immortals. He's going to have to blanket the storms. SHIN's just going to try and push through. Dude, this is so... Terrible, terrible damage indeed, Diva. I agree. Thank you. I didn't realize I was doing a co-cast with Diva today. Sorry, guys. I like to show players vision a lot. Apparently, that means listening to Diva as my co-commentator, and I apologize for that. Storms do come in. Extra Lurkers going down. Trying to force your way through the army is a crazy move. And you can see Storm's not great against Lurkers, but when you're able to land this many consecutive Storms, it actually does pop the Lurkers one by one. Hydra's still pushing forward as well. He's going to counter push up the top. There's only a few Lurkers up there. He might be able to push through there, though the Spore Crawlers are making it hard for Astrea to move his observers through. Archon does go down. Dude, SHIN is just playing crazy. I think Astrea needs to give this base up. I think if you lose your army, you lose the game. If you lose all these units, you lose the game. Good choice. Good choice. Dude, because SHIN desperately wants him to stand and fight. Oh my god, Astrea, get out of here. He's busy fighting up the top. Looks like he broke through the Lurker Spore. He managed to lose one of his guys. Oh, nice Storm there. Very nice Storm. Finally, the Observer comes over, and that Lurker does go down. One Lurker on its own, of course, is not that fearsome. There's still 3 Immortals and a bunch of High Templar left here. Mothership comes in as well. Hydra's try to go after it. Big Storm on the Hydra Lurker. Very nice Storms, but he's got to be careful. He doesn't have too many Storms left. And Shin, yes, he's being wasteful. He's down 12,000 resources, but he is now pushing in. Does he have anything at home? Dude, did Shin just leave himself completely unguarded at home? Has Shin gone all in? Oh my lord, what in the heck, dude? Okay, Ling's gonna deny Astrea's new attempt to evade. Astrea has no income, but if he can get rid of like all of the tech of Shin, then I think it's fine. Recall's ready, so he's gonna just snap recall the army. Good move, good move. I would not really snap recall, but as soon as the hatchery's done, gets a quick recall. Income, guys. We've got a full mining base, right, for Shin. Astrea has dregs of a third base. We're talking about 700 gas and about 500-600 minerals. Still got a bit gas on his natural, couple thousand gas, and quite a bit of minerals actually, 2,000 minerals, because he's, you know, he's lost that base like 4 times, and he's going to rebuild his 4th base yet again. How many Nexi? 7 Nexus have been killed this game, ladies and gentlemen, 7. And Astrea is going to start a single carrier transition. That's right, guys. He's going for 1 carrier right now. No air weapons upgrades. Just 1 carrier. Oh, the Vipers. It's all about the feedback versus Viper interaction. If you get the abducts, 1 Oracle, 2 Oracles. Nicely done. And he has to do a 2nd abduct. Worth it, though. Gets himself an Oracle just for energy. Remember, Oracles cost 300 resources, 150 minerals, 150 gas. They are not cheap. Production is still wide open. If Astrea wants to push in, he could cause some real problems for Shin in this game. Shin's going to try and go Broodlords. Broodlords are definitely the answer to the ground army. Broodlord plus Lurker combined is so hard to deal with, especially if you've got Infestor Viper, but he doesn't have any Infestors. He's got 3 Vipers, and he does have a new base up the bottom. So Shin's income is growing. Astrea, I mean, his 4th is up. He's got a 5th base building on the right. I almost feel like maybe he should take the 5th on the left and then just really focus on not letting his units get abducted. Land those feedbacks, my man. Oh my gosh, that Immortal. Whee! Nice abduct micro here from Shin, just picking off units little by little. Hydras are much better for killing those abducted units than Lurkers, because the Lurkers do tend to miss retreating units, like obviously because the Lurkers kind of shoot this delayed row of spines out underground. It's not a particularly accurate attack. Single Tempest building. Oh, I much prefer this transition, guys. 1 carrier and then just going for Tempest is I think a way better way of doing it. But man, he's got to land his feedbacks. This vision battle, another Immortal gets taken down. Zealots not going to be able to kill the hatchery. Probe and a few Zealots go down. Dude, this is just so good right now for Shin. His Overseers there just having a bit of a perv. Once you get Tempests, you can start shooting these Overseers down from afar, at least to limit his vision. Prism is still up here in the back door, guys. Ready to come in at any moment. Maybe warp in over on this left side, away from the spines and Spore that are there in the main. If you get rid of the Spire, the Lurker Den, those are juicy tech structures. Because Astrea is very poor, he's not maxed out. He doesn't want to be, you know, this is not the point in the game where you've got thousands of minerals to just throw away. He's also down to 6 gateways because he lost a few gateways in this game. Never repowered that one, so it's actually 5 gateways. So he can only warp in 5 Zealots at a time as he goes 2-star Tempest and air weapons. Now, this is where you really need to make a play as Shin. You need to, I think, grab, like I said, half your army, run around the top, siege this base. He's still got 13 Lurkers. Man, how many Lurkers did he throw away? 23? Okay, I think we got a call. I think Shin kind of screwed up by trying to push through the army, right? I'm not crazy, right, guys? He was ahead. I'm pretty sure he was massively ahead in this game. But Astrea's just hung on. She's trying to emulate that La Cucaracha style, you know, just survive, just refuse to die. And it's Shin's job to finish burning him out here. He's going to try and mine this forward base. Now, this is usually a good idea if you've got the standoff advantage. Problem is, Tempests are coming in, and Tempests should be the advantaged unit in a standoff. When you're both arm's length from each other, Revelation plus Storm plus feedback on the spellcasters plus Tempests using their 14 anti-air range and their 10 anti-ground range should be able to do incredibly well. High Templar finally get in top, but still one of the Vipers does survive. Doesn't get feedbacked, is what I should say that. Since they all survived, but 2 of them completely out of energy for a while, one of them with 2 abducts still on hand. Single Lurker up top, as well as a Nidus Worm going up as Astrea tries to take that base. Tempest slowly picking off a few Hydras. Shin's gonna have to find a way to start bullying him again, but he's coming in vision. This is something, so as a Zerg, guys, you gotta see with the white symbol, those are the units that Astrea can see right now. So you want to bring your Vipers in from the north, from like a surprising angle and try to catch him out, because right now the revelation is giving Astrea vision of whenever those Corruptor Viper are running forward. So you got to be really methodical, and you can often bully the other person if you're the one who's like running and picking off a unit repeatedly whenever they're not looking. But finding the moment when they're distracted is hard. So this is why Shin's going around with a big Hydra Lurker army. Observer sees it though. Observer sees it. Astrea needs to pull back. Astrea not paying attention. He was a little bit... Okay, no, I think he's realized. But he's a little slow to react. This Nexus is going to be toast. Going to get burnt to a crisp by those Hydras and Lurkers. Not that they really burn things. Well, those Lurkers on the left got left on their own, actually. A little bit surprising there. Oh my god, is he going to lose the Nexus? Sorry, is he not going to lose the Nexus? I think Astrea's going to save the Nexus. That's crazy. Oh man, Shin just went way too desperate. He just threw away so much Hydra Lurker for a Nexus snipe. That's a good trade, man. 15,000 resources more efficient. And remember, because Astrea's not been mining as much for a lot of this game, because he's been losing his Nexi and his probes have just been running around so much. He's actually got more minerals left on his bases left to mine. But doesn't matter if you keep letting your units get abducted. Though the Tempests do at least enact attacks, sniping down a Corruptor, but 2 Tempests going down is quite painful. You want to keep that number up at like 4, 5, 6 Tempests. He just moves into Spore range, a little bit derpy there from Mr. Astrea. Remember, they do have 10 range. They can shoot a lot further than what they were using at first there. One Abduct does go down. Tempest will be falling. Tempest for a Viper might be an okay trade, though. Does get himself a lot of damage on a Corruptor as well. Still units up here in the top right side. Still an Overlord taking a deuce up there. Mass Spore Crawlers here. Shin is desperately trying to fight for this base. But like I said, he's going to need to fly in from a surprising angle. The south or the north, which is hard because these observers here. He needs to get rid of these observers. Really important. It's all about limiting vision. And right now, the Oracle Revelation plus the observers, look at Astrea's vision. He sees you coming. So this is the best angle. He needs to clump up his Corruptor Viper, come from this angle, grab 3 Tempests, get rid of them. But right now, remember, Shin is not really a late game master. He's more of a mid-game all-in guy. Oh, probes are going down to the top. Dude, I'm still so impressed. I cannot actually tell you how ridiculously hard it is to survive when you've got Swarm Host Nidus coming up the whole time. It always feels like, oh yeah, you can do it. Swarm Hosts are kind of supply inefficient. But actually doing it in practice is way different. 4 feedbacks on the Infestors, feedbacks on the Vipers. Both Vipers get popped. And oh, Shin just like walks into the trap. Astrea there with a layered trap. He had Storms, feedbacks, and the Tempests, of course, as the bait there. The Tempest just twerk in that Zerg's face, and you know the Tempest cannot resist when they see a Tempest twerk. They go, oh! They just run at it. They try to touch that Tempest. And it usually does end up backfiring. Queen's going down as well. Right now, Shin seems like he doesn't have an answer. He's got to give this base out, and there's just no reason to hold this position. You can't win a standoff with Tempest like this. Shin is committing to an entrenched position, and Astrea is making a ridiculously heroic comeback. And this is the thing is, so I just want to take this moment as this game gets absolutely insane to say, this sort of game is why Swarm Hosts are awesome. Swarm Hosts are going to be one of the most controversial, frustrating, and ridiculous mechanics that are hard to balance. But because the whole unit is super effective if the Zerg has map control and useless if they don't have map control, it creates such an interesting tug-of-war on the map, right? In the early stages, you get these chaotic games. So there's always something to be said. Like, even when I hate on like some of the StarCraft 2 mechanics that came in that are, you know, I'm like, oh man, don't like those swarmers. They're too silly. There's other times where I'm like, damn, dude, you would not have games like this if that wasn't the case. Astrea, though, oh, dude, if he loses this position, it'd be big, but the Immortals just hold strong. Once the Hydras, whenever the Hydras have to dodge the storm, the Lurkers just get gunned down. And this is the sort of multi-prong he should have been doing earlier rather than committing to the frontal fight. I actually think Shin, if he stayed on a Hydra Lurker Viper-focused army and just avoided fighting on the edge of the Tempest range, you know, send 2/3 of your army around, counterattack, go for more of a base trade style, Tempest move to respond, run the other third of your army in from this side, keep trying to Nidus or drop in the back. I actually think that was probably the best way to do it. And this is something where I used to always feel like if Protoss is going Sky Toss, you know, going and staying on Hydra Lurker is not a great play. And I agree if they're going like lots of carriers, you need to go Corruptors at a certain point. But I always feel like early on in the transition, committing even harder to Hydra Lurker Viper and you know, just running into their economy, their bases, their production is actually such a good way to play because you can like catch them out of position and their army's kind of weaker. And when they've only got a couple carriers or a couple Tempests, they don't quite have the army together to do what they need. So catching them in the middle of the transition can be really good. And it actually has a surprising amount of power. Whereas the moment you get stuck in the standoff with the Broodlord Corruptor, it becomes really, really, really awkward. Have to mute there for a bit of a burp into the microphone like a savage. Zealot, Immortal, High Templar on the top right side. Corruptor's going to pull back. Probably don't want to keep pushing forward here as Astrea. You could throw one more Storm just to scare those Broodlords away. I don't know why he's fighting right now. I guess he wants to bring the Tempest forward. That's why 2 High Templar go down, but one of the Broodlords gets sniped very quickly. Remember these Tempests, they're going to take out that Lurker as well. This is the point where you kind of wish you had Ultra Corruptor, but the fact that Astrea's got these Immortals from the early game, like 16 kills, 14 kills, 26 kills, 28 kills, 15 kills. Like, these Immortals are all veterans, and because SHIN hasn't forced the game to be messy enough, he's never had that chance. Not to mention, he never got Adrenal Glands. No, his upgrades aren't maxed out either. His air upgrades are only +2. But generally, if you make the game messy enough, and the Protoss ever loses all those Immortals, you can hard swap into just Mass Ultra Corruptor. It's such a good style if they don't have Immortals to deal with it. Corruptors are going to dive, dude. Oh, SHIN's trying to force it. SHIN's trying to force this base. He should be mining the top. SHIN is just refusing to give up this side of the map. He's trying to fight it, but he's still not got rid of this Observer from earlier because the Overseers have gone down. Dude, Astrea making the Tempest come back 30 minutes into this game. And look at it. 23,000 resources more efficient. This is what I love about Astrea, is he's such a gimmicky player in terms of just fun, crazy builds, but he can just play a fantastic macro game sometimes as well, where it's like, dude, you're on the edge of losing the entire time. You're just going to hold firm and just bring out some rock-solid Protoss that refuses to die. Zealots and Immortals chasing up the top here. Looks like +3 air weapons is about to kick in, by the way. That will take the Tempest damage up to 52 versus ground. 40 base, +4 per upgrade. Is it less versus air? Is it 30 damage versus air for the Tempest? I think it is, but they get like a massive, a bonus of like 25 or something ridiculous versus massive versus the Broodlords. Okay, this army in the top's getting jumped on. The Immortal High Templar getting taken out. That Archon looks like it might fall as well. Another Broodlord does get picked off by the Tempest. Yeah, that Archon does go down. These cannons starting to get sieged. This is the rotation we were looking for. I'd love him to dive the south as well with some sort of harassment, but Astrea's just like, I'm not even going to fight you, which is weird. He's expecting it. His army's running back and forth. Mass Zealot warping in the main, guys. He's up to 11 gateways now. The Zealots will be able to take out those Spine Crawlers easily. Lots of probes will potentially fall in a moment. Here comes the Corruptors. There's only 30 Corruptors. Oh my god. Okay, that was only 1/3 of the Corruptors. SHIN's going to clump those Corruptors. He's ready to dive, but there's so much Storm. Feedbacks. 2 Infestors get popped. The Fungal unable to land to answer that. Where's the Overseer? SHIN, he doesn't have the Overseers, so the Observer's seeing everything. And because of that, he does storm his own Observer down now, finally. There's another one further north. Astrea's got the heads up on everything that's happening. Hive goes down, Hydra Dent, Lurker Dent, and Greatest Spire are all in jeopardy right now. A few Hydras come back. The Zealots are walking right past. That's how much disrespect the Zealots have right now. High Templar there, keeping those Corruptors out. The Broodlords do take out a base. SHIN gets his first victory in a while, but his main base is the price he's paying for it. With the Time Warp zoning out his Corruptors, he can't fight. He's got to get out of here. SHIN, you can't be hanging on the edge of the Tempest range, letting them pick at you, dude. Tempests are an amazing unit if you stand on the edge of their range. They are sniping units. They are artillery units. The Corruptors are finally going to go for the dive, but there's no spells to back it up. It is Corruptors naked. Nothing to deal with the Archons or the High Templar, and they are getting minced. Yes, he's killing a lot of Protoss, but the ground army is still there. There's still a few Tempests as well, and this is not looking great for SHIN. Astrea with a miraculous comeback on the verge of dying to the Swarm hosts. He lost 7 Nexi in the early mid game, and this truly is 9 Nexus in total that game. But what an insane match. I mean, the Roach inefficiency in the early game was really bad. You could tell SHIN just stopped building Roaches at a certain point because he was like, these are doing nothing. That was 75 Roaches in like the first 8.5 minutes of the game. And then it was just immense Lurkers, Vipers, Hydras, Lings, Infestors, so many Zealots, so many Archons. High Templar, the Storms especially zoning were really, really big. What a fun match. And at the end of the day, it was a 25,000 resource loss difference. That is some Protoss efficiency. GG, well played.